Hello, I'm wbz-tv meteorologist Barry Burbank, and I have your forecast for the next several days, and boy, is it ever going to be hot around here. Yesterday, we had temperatures nudging 90 degrees in many locations. A few of the WBZ weather watchers got into the lower 90s, but Boston did officially make it to 90 at Logan Airport, so that means that that was day number 2 that the temperature has reached or exceeded 90 here in 2018. At this time last year, we'd already had 7 of such days, but only 2 so far, but that may make up for it with all the ones we have coming this week. But it looks like even though we have probably 7 days where many parts of New England will go over 90 degrees coming up, Boston may not get some of those because of the fact that right on the ocean and occasional sea breezes may stop that from happening right at Logan Airport. But basically, most areas are going to be really hot. Of course, the big year was 2016 when we had the 22 days. So we're only just beginning here with this ridge of high pressure, which is getting pretty strong, is going to become entrenched there. And that giant ridge will be around for several days, taking us right on through the whole week. Now, the jet stream is poised to the north, and what we have happening here is we have this ridge of high pressure. So we have around the ridge of high pressure, we have sometimes thunderstorm clusters which form. We call these ridge riders, and it's called the ring of fire around the periphery of that ridge of high pressure. And sometimes these clusters of thunderstorms can be pretty nasty, especially if they come down at us on a northwesterly airflow aloft. So we'll watch for any additional storms to form. I think the one which formed across New York State early this morning is already fizzling away. So we don't have to worry about that one doing anything. The question is, will there be additional ones developing up in here and coming southeastward? Certainly going to affect parts of northern New England if you're going up there this weekend. Certainly Vermont, especially New Hampshire and into Maine. The question is, will any of these clusters survive the trip and make it down into southern New England, especially mostly over eastern Massachusetts? We'll have to see about that as we go through today and into tomorrow. Right now, it doesn't look to be the case, but it's mighty close. We'll have to watch that. Tomorrow afternoon, a few more thunderstorms may pop up over inland locations. Now, we have a weather alert up here at WBZ because of all the heat. And the National Weather Service has an excessive heat watch, not a warning, but a watch, because temperatures may reach over 100 degrees, or at least feel like up to 105 degrees or so tomorrow in this part of New England. It's not a definite forecast yet. It all depends on a couple of factors, but the humidity certainly will be ramping up over the next 24 hours, becoming much more uncomfortable than it was early this morning when it was rather nice out there. We certainly have a heat advisory up across western New Hampshire and into Vermont, southern Connecticut, but underneath this excessive heat watch should be a heat advisory also. This pinker shading out here in New York State is for an excessive heat warning for temperatures to feel more like 105 up to 110 degrees tomorrow and on Monday. On the thermometer, it'll say about 90 or 91 or 92 in Boston today before feeble sea breezes try to set in. And these sea breezes today will be just that, very feeble and not pushing much cooling inland at all. It's only going to be right along the shore roads, on especially south-facing coastal spots. Farther inland, it goes to the mid-90s. On the south side of the Cape in the 80s. What a great weekend to be down in the Cape. I'm sure lots of people will be there, on the South Shore or the North Shore or the New Hampshire coast or the Maine coast. But if you're going to be at the beaches on the New Hampshire Maine coast today or tomorrow, watch out for any potential thunderstorms coming in from the northwest. The heat really is maxed out in the central part of the nation and on up through the Great Lakes, where it really has been sizzling with extreme humidity out in here, and some of that is going to be leaking into New England over the next 24 hours, so something we'll have to watch quite closely. At the beaches today, we have a high tide at 146, so there's not going to be much beach room in many locations because of all the high water and all the people going to the beaches. It's going to be absolutely crowded. Southwest breeze will start picking up this afternoon. That's your beach forecast for this Saturday. Tonight's low temperatures in the low and middle 70s, maybe even upper 70s in Boston, upper 60s on the New England South Coast, and tomorrow's high should be in the low and middle 90s and 80s along the coast. But tomorrow there's going to be something happening tomorrow, and that's this a boundary which is going to actually have much more push to it after these thunderstorm complexes come south. It'll allow the boundary to advance westward a bit more tomorrow and have a little more oomph to it. So therefore, the temperatures will be falling from midday through the afternoon hours, so the relief will be much more genuine along the coast. It's still going to be humid tomorrow, although the dew points will drop. But that front will sort of push into Metro West and drop the temperatures a little bit in the afternoon down into the 80s, while central Massachusetts westward will stay really sizzling and stifling and sweltering out here, mid to upper 90s. Note by the end of the day, it actually drops down to the upper 60s near 70 near the coast. I don't know if it's going to be quite that dramatic. But these are the dew points. If you get to 65 to 70, it's usually considered as very humid, high humidity. If it gets over 70, and that's what some of these higher dew points are going to be coming in here late tonight and tomorrow morning, it goes to 70 to 75. That is downright really oppressive. And without much wind and the stuffy air and this humidity, it's going to make it really pretty uncomfortable. Along the coast in the afternoon, though, the dew points start dropping as that cooler air pushes inland from the coastline. So we're hoping for some temporary relief in eastern Massachusetts tomorrow afternoon. But overall, this ridge of high pressure just stays in place. It's entrenched here just about all week long. But finally, it'll get a shove and a push southeastward, and it'll sort of migrate off to the southwest. And that will allow a change to happen. But it's going to be quite a few days before that change materializes. So I suspect we should be having genuine relief here starting late next Friday, and next weekend will be much different than this weekend will be. And all this week, mostly in the 90s, along the coast, occasional cooling, and a couple of episodes when the cooling may be a little bit more dramatic, but overall, it's a pretty hot week. So please try to take it easy this week, stay hydrated, and try to avoid any of these heat-related illnesses which can pop up. So try to avoid that and seek cooling, air conditioning, fans, the beaches, so on and so forth. That's your forecast for now. Have a nice weekend.